Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. Shall we kick this off? Cue the music. Thank you. Please don't sue me. Anyway, some edited playthroughs. Certain classes from the Old Republic, folks. Purpose of which to inform and entertain, I should hope. I'll most likely be skipping out fairly large segments of this playthrough. A lot of travel time, that's going to get cut out. You know how I used to do it back in Cataclysm. A little bit of effort being put in, hopefully, to ensure a more enjoyable experience. Also gives me a chance to give first impressions of this game, since I played it for probably about 3 hours today and the first day of release, since it is on its pre-release for everyone that pre-ordered. I happened to pre-order on day one, which got me into the early access straight away. And I actually changed my mind, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to play an Imperial Agent. I'm going to play Bounty Hunter, because Bounty Hunters have flamethrowers. I don't think Imperial Agent has a flamethrower, so I'm fairly sure that's something that we should have considered to be a very important factor. I think it's a very important factor. Do you? Hope so. Well, here we go. I'm playing a female Bounty Hunter, voiced by Grey DeLise. Now, this might not be a familiar voice actress to you. Should be, if you've been paying attention to certain great games, as well as she was involved in a lot of DC and Marvel animated stuff. But most importantly, in my opinion, she was Therese and Jeanette from Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is one of my favorite games of all time. So, yeah. She was also Catwoman in Arkham City very recently, so you may recognize the tone. Right, so Bounty Hunter time. Now, you start on the same planet as you would with the Imperial Agent, which is Hutter. Bear in mind, there are 4 origin worlds, and there are 8 classes in total spread across 2 factions, Republic and, of course, Empire. Skydome's very shiny. Graphical quality seems to have improved since the beta. Not a huge amount, and there aren't as many options as I would like, certainly, in the options menu for this. There are certain things lacking, like for instance, no anti-aliasing option that can be forced on via a trick, but it does hit the frame rate harder than it should, so it doesn't appear to be optimized as of yet. I have a feeling they may put that in before general release, perhaps, but whatever the case, I know the beta was a couple of months behind the proper build. And there we go, that is my Bounty Hunter. Isn't she gorgeous? What can I say? I've got a thing for red alien women. She seems to be rather impressed by the whole affair. That are very nonchalant. I can't really figure out, honestly, by the complete lack of facial expressions. Ah, Gamorreans. Always the most hilarious adversaries as far as I'm concerned. Squeal like a pig. Alright. You will find me in the club. In this case, the Poison Pit, which is the cantina. It's one of the smaller cantinas on this particular planet, whereby the main story arc begins.
We're almost set up. See if you can't get that security network running, Mako.
Sure thing, Brayden. We'll be... hey now.
Hey, indeed. The main attraction is here. Team, this is the girl we're pinning all our hopes on. Best shot I've ever seen in Nerves of Steel. She's great hunt material, all right. What do you say, Hunter? Ready to meet your team?
My team. I like the sound of that.
Get used to the idea. To win the Great Hunt, you'll need support, structure, and intel. Let's do things official-like. This is Mako, a little genius I picked up years ago in Nar Shaddaa. She provides intel and tech.
Hope you're as good as the old man says.
And the big bruiser is Jory. He handles the heavy lifting and provides security for our base of operations.
Atuni ma chechu, I kutsi nankihe.
Are you and this little girl an item, Jory?
Puni rana nu prata dunko?
All right, enough introductions. Down to business. We're here because the Great Hunt has been called. Little Mako is the most rabid fan of hunter history this side of Geonosis, and even she doesn't know exactly what the Great Hunt entails.
I do know the names of every great hunt winner, though. Bloodworthy, the Defenestrator, Jewel and Nightbringer.
Every bounty hunter who's won a great hunt went on to massive glory and riches, which is why we're here.
Personally, I'm just here to kill people and cause damage.
Then you won't be bored, because we aren't here to make friends.
Here's what I know so far. The Great Hunt has two groups, the Mandalorian Elite and freelance bounty hunters sponsored by influential crime lords. There's no time to make you a Mandalorian. That means you need a sponsor.
Nemro the Hutt runs this stinking little town. I've got just enough pull with that gangster to get you an introduction. Mako, scan for every bounty in the area. I want the nastiest, most brutal, untouchable scum you can find.
I'm on it, Brayden. One nasty character coming up.
We need to get you situated as a big-time hunter, at least as far as the locals know. Then we contact Nemro. Mako will plant rumors about your off-world exploits. But you have to take down someone impressive and local to sell the reputation.
Is there anything that little girl can't do?
She can't handle a gun like you can. Or we wouldn't need you, would we?
Found something. Check this out. Vex Corellian. Champion quick-draw artist, wanted for robbing 15 Imperial military pay stations.
Togawata kiko uba kiriwata buki donko.
Perfect. This Vex is either a madman or a glory hound, and he's obviously dangerous.
Says here, Vex has a safe house in the bad part of town, right in the heart of the madness. That'll be fun.
Nemro the Hutt's enemy took over part of this town. It's dangerous poking around in there, but it's your best shot. Raid Vex's safe house and look for something that might help us track him down, but be ready for anything.
Excuse me, but I have a safe house to shoot up.
Be safe out there.
All right, so there's your basic storyline to start you off with your bounty hunting expedition. Basically, the Great Hunt's been called. These guys are putting together a crew. You are there hopeful to get into the Great Hunt. If you win the Great Hunt, there's a ton of cash on the line, which is why they want to make that happen. You are introduced to several characters here. Needless to say, this is a spoiler video in the sense of all of the storyline is in it, including my amazing ability to walk into walls. As you can see, I was very disorientated by the space travel. It's really as simple as that. I had to look around these areas just to see as to whether or not there is actually anything special. You'll see on the map if there are any available missions, but it's cool just to be able to get a little bit of dialogue, because a lot of these NPCs do end up actually being voiced in one way or another. And the first thing that I discovered really about the Old Republic is that there are vendors everywhere. Like, there is a vendor for everything. There's a vendor for vendors. Like, here, go to the vendor and purchase some additional vendors for your vendoring. It's pretty insane. Now, some of this I'm just going to skip through because you've seen this before my Imperial Agent playthrough. So, this, yeah, Lou Burrell, you know about this guy, so I'm going to slice him out. Of course, there is the option to hear some slightly different responses here and there, but I don't feel like it's worthwhile content. It's too repetitious. So, yeah, anything that I've shown already in Imperial Agent will not be shown in this particular video. But I'll probably do a bit more of this. I've recorded about 4 hours or so of playthrough, which is quite amazing considering I claimed that I'd only played for 3. Maybe it was a little longer than that. Alright, so basic combat mechanics for the Bounty Hunter. Not the same as the Imperial Agent in the sense that you cannot use cover mechanics, but you are significantly tougher. You can wear heavy armor as the Imperial Bounty Hunter. It's going to enable two extremely nice options, auto loot and area loot. These are so very, very good. In fact, Old Republic has a number of convenience options that are in place that I really do like. And one of them is that it also makes it extremely obvious where there's loot. And just to make matters just a little bit more interesting, the color of that beam coming from the sky there changes depending on what loot's on the corpse. So if you can't be bothered picking up vendor junk, and all you want is the really good stuff, it will change to green if there's a green quality item, blue if there's a blue quality item, purple if there's a purple quality item, and so on and so forth. In terms of basic combat mechanics, you're at the start very much just a range damage class, but you are focusing on shooting the crap out of people and also using your wrist-mounted rockets, which they're kind enough to give you at level 1. I don't know what it is about the Old Republic, but it loves giving you abilities that throw people everywhere. It's actually quite nice. It makes the combat feel very kinetic, a lot of force behind it, as you can see there. The knockback in this game is much better than, say, World of Warcraft, which is, well, it's out of date, like a lot of World of Warcraft. There we go, that's area loot in action, so that loots everything within the immediate vicinity and saves me a bunch of time. Kind of surprised that you even put it in there, considering that MMOs seem to be about wasting your time as much as possible, but no, they've put in a number of nice convenience options. Now, in terms of the energy mechanics and the way that the bounty hunter works, it's based on a heat system. Also, it's got like the best level up thing ever, bringing in some little probe droids to come across, then they fly off. It's awesome. But yeah, anyway, it uses a heat system whereby you will gradually build up heat the more you use heat-generating abilities. In this case, the only heat-generating ability I have is the wrist-mounted rockets, as you can see right there. All right. You've seen this guy before. You know all about this, so it's getting skipped. If you have missed all this stuff, then go watch the Imperial Agent playthrough video that I did of this exact same area with this exact same quest. No way, there aren't too many more of those. So the heat mechanics, you can vent them using the ability on 3 right there. That actually has a cooldown, but it will rapidly vent your heat so you can continue to spam abilities. Otherwise, if it doesn't have a cooldown, you might as well spam it until you reach your heat limit. And that's just at lower levels, really, as opposed to anything else. Alright, going to enter a bounty hunter phase right here. This is nice and easy. The bonus is to kill 3 hired outlaws. The funny thing that this bonus is basically unavoidable unless you completely ignore this room. So later on, you're going to find bonuses that actually require you to go out of your way in order to earn the bonus experience and such. But in this case, that is not happening. The fact that this game is so brazen about what's a phase and what isn't is both off-putting in some respect and actually kind of brave and cool in another. The off-putting fact is the immersion breaking. It's like there's a big, great, green, stonking door in the middle. It's like, you're about to go into a story phase. It's somewhat jarring, and the word gamey springs to mind. It's really, really gamey, and I don't even like that word, but what it doesn't try to obfuscate the mechanics in any way. It's like, this is a phase, or this is an area you're not supposed to be in. Pretty much that. However, the good thing about this is it means that it can have mini instances in the middle of what would otherwise be open questing areas, which means that the quests can become significantly more complicated and have significantly more cool stuff in them, including things like dialogue choices and little boss fights and stuff and you won't get interrupted in the process. I will be showing you some content later on that I actually view as extremely good in the starting area. It's called a heroic zone. They're open world areas with these kind of mini instanced phased areas within them that are designed for 2 or more players and will basically kill you otherwise. It's pretty awesome. I won't talk too much in detail about them now because I can show you one later on in the series, hopefully over the next couple of days. I'll try and crank out maybe a couple of videos tomorrow on the subject. Now this NPC is bounty hunter specific.
Hey, little girl. Aren't you just the cutest thing to ever pick up a blaster?
Still going to think it's cute when I put a hole through that big head of yours?
A real hard case, huh? All right, then. My partner Zinni and I train and supply bounty hunters. Got a little area to test out new gear, the whole bit. You want to really impress Brayden? Go let Zinni show you what she knows.
Now, we aren't quite done. There's someone else we need to talk to here. This is a general quest coming up here, which I haven't shown you yet.
Excuse me, stranger. I don't mean to be overly familiar, but I think you're just the kind of person who can help me. My coward of a husband has taken my son, and I need someone with the wit and muscle to bring him back.
Your marital problems aren't my business.
My marriage has been dead for years. This is about my son. My son is gifted. Do you understand me? Gifted in the Force. He has the ability to train on Korriban and become Sith. My husband trained on Korriban. He had his chance at glory, but failed. And now he runs errands for a slimy hut. I will not have my son do the same. Please, you must help me.
Why don't you handle this?
My husband once trained to be a Sith. The fact that he didn't finish doesn't diminish his skills as a fighter. I hope you'll reconsider. I would pay you well.
I suppose I could do it for the money.
Good. Excellent. He took my son to the shuttle port. A comm officer there who owed me a favor contacted me when they showed up. Be careful. My husband may not be willing to walk away peacefully.
It's definitely somewhat jarring in an MMO to be getting into these full-blown conversations with people who appear to be pretty much inconsequential side quest NPCs. That's exactly who they are. They are inconsequential side quest NPCs, and yet you are getting into voice acting with them. And I suppose it makes more sense because it does feel very, very much BioWare, even with the MMO-style interface. It smacks of BioWare pretty much everywhere you look, especially with the conversation wheel. You kind of get into this rhythm like you did with Mass Effect and, of course, with the Old Republic and, to some degree, Dragon Age as well, although Dragon Age's combat was a little bit more jarring when you went into it. Here, you just sort of wander out and then get into a gunfight. But, yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to it, but it's good. I just want to emphasize how important I think story really is here, and if you're skipping story stuff like this, then I think you're a bit crazy, honestly, because it gives so much context to what you're doing. And all of these BS quests that are just like collect 6 cat teeth, as was pointed out on a recent Bombcast, it's good if the alien is talking to you beforehand and explaining why he needs the cat teeth, and you can argue with him. That's pretty cool. That's something that I view to be extremely important, and it's something that motivates me.
Good hunting out there.
I should also point out a really awesome feature of this game, which is that it reminds you constantly of where you are in the story. A prime example would be whenever you log into the game, it brings up a splash screen, which has basically got the story so far, and that updates almost all the time. It will tell you exactly where you are in the story. It will tell your story so far. And that's something that MMOs haven't really gotten into their heads as something that's important. If I log back into WoW, I don't remember the storyline of the questing I was doing because I didn't care. Here, I know exactly where I am in the story and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Motivation and context for every action. Is that important? Of course it's bloody important. BioWare's proven that for perhaps the last 10 years, probably even longer than that as far as I'm concerned with their storytelling techniques, in that you've got to be given context and reason for every action, and that can be unparalleled motivation, even if it is a trashy quest which involves killing 6 of a certain mob. If you're told why, and if you can talk back, and if you can say, oh, well, that sounds like a good idea, I was like, screw that. And yes, you can just leave the conversation and say, nope, not doing it for a lot of those quests. Then you feel much, much more willing to do it and much more involved, and you feel like you've done it for a purpose. As far as I'm concerned, that is vital to maintaining immersion value. Vital. Alright. So I forgot that I hadn't handed a question, so I took the speeder back there. Speeders are just flight points, obviously. But here we go. Let's continue on with the main story arc.
I'm just saying I want to go on some missions. My blaster aim is pretty good. Anything's better than sitting around with you in our gear. No offense, big guy.
Wana wada blota wijawa. O wamawanka matuske.
Hey, look who's back. How'd it go out there, girl? Find anything?
I found out that I enjoy killing gangsters. A lot.
Imache. Churon chika chiliska chanaga.
Is that crusty datapad you're holding so tight the only thing you've got? Let me have a look.
Uchusa yomata chitoya. Nanganoya choski nawi.
Pleasure's all mine, big guy.
Well, look who's in a generous mood today.
Hey, Brayden. How was Nemro's palace? We getting our hunter in to see this hut?
I've laid the groundwork, but we're not there yet. What have you got?
A datapad from Vex's safe house. Cracked the encryption in record time. Check out that last entry.
Our boy Vex keeps detailed records. There's a receipt here for a shuttle ticket he bought today. We'll have to move fast. Only the boldest make it into the Great Hunt. And Vex is a bold target. He's a champion gunslinger, completely ruthless. What do you say, Hunter? You ready to take down Vex all by yourself?
I'm always ready.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. If you head out now, you'll catch Vex at the shuttle port before he escapes. Bring back Vex's ID tags as proof that you're the one who got him. Anything else he carries is yours to keep.
O kakiza spida perupa. Gadwa shiniko higa danulia.
I love the interaction between those two characters. It's great. I mean, the voice acting in this game is obviously very well done, but also the scripts seem to be written pretty well. I don't know if that maintains throughout the entire game. Maybe it's front-loaded in terms of its quality with the Origin worlds. It's very possible. Plenty of MMOs have front-loaded their quality content before. I'm hoping this is not the case, considering the amount of bloody money they spend on it. Otherwise, I'd like to know where the hell all the money went in the first place. Now, before I sign off for this particular video, I would like to show you another ability, because, well, the ability is called Rocket Punch. So, let's just skip past this little flight, and I'm going to show you Rocket Punch. I even skipped a bit of story to show you this. Sure you can! Yes, you can do that. The Bounty Hunter is a great mix of some crazy sort of short-range stuff and long-range combat, and I'm liking it. Mash that DPM, FP. Trust me, it will beat footsies with priority. Alright, folks, we'll get back to the story in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has given you some impressions of things. If you want the basic opinion from me, am I enjoying this currently? The answer is, why, yes. Yes, I am. I really, actually kind of am. I'm happy about that. I'll tell you more in future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.